All right, welcome back to week 2 of making this little guy. This week we're going to be doing some rigging. So last week we modeled him, and now we're going to do some rigging, setting up a skeleton so that he can move. All right, let us go into front view, 1 on the number pad. And we have our cursor at the center with Shift C. Now, I tried to look and see if I could have these keys actually show up on screen. Apparently there is an add-on for it, but I cannot find it. It's supposed to be called screencast keys? I don't know. Sorry. Okay, so we're at the center. Shift A to open up this little menu here and grab yourself an armature. Boink. New armature right there. So the name of this armature is armature. And then we can do stuff like change the viewport display to in front so that we can always see it no matter where we are, which is kind of nice. It used to be called X-ray, but now it's called in front. And just like with the model, we can go into edit mode with the bone. So each of these is called a bone. So let's grab the top of it, GZ, bring it down. And we're gonna name this guy, go to the little bone tab, boink, to root. So you always want to have a root node that's just sitting at the origin point, and that is how you kind of keep everything stable when you're in Unity. So we created a bone with Alt P, which is the inverse of parent. We can disconnect it. Don't clear the parent, but disconnect it. And so that allows you to do is create a bone that is attached, but is not directly connected. So what that looks like in pose mode is that. So it's like you can do like this, and it would just do that. So, not that you ever want to be moving the root anyways. So we have that, and now we're gonna extrude with E. Out to the side. Let's lock it with X, and same thing. Alt P, disconnect bone, and then GX, move it out there. Grab this guy and just bring it up like that. And then the same thing. Let's duplicate it with Shift D, and then X to lock it in the X axis, Control M to tell it to flip, X to denote the axis we're flipping it in, and move it a little bit further in the X axis. Okay, so now we have those guys. Also from here, we're gonna have the head, extrude with E, lock it in the Z axis with Z, and then we're also gonna actually Alt P, disconnect that bone, just because, there we go. And then let's do some legs, extrude straight down with Z, grab that bone, Alt P, disconnect bone, and G to move it. There we go. And now we want this to go up to the base of the leg. So let's see where that is. Press Z, open up wireframe, and it's a bit too tall, so let's move it down a bit. And Shift D, X, moves that alongside. There we go. These are also a bit too long. GZ, move it up, boink. Alrighty, so that is what that looks like. This is all I'm going to do for this model. You can obviously have multiple bones for the arms, multiple bones for the legs. Yeah, let's do the multiple bones for the legs just because it's good to see it. So let's bring these up to the knee. And EZ. Boom. Okay, now we have multiple bones. And just to be super fun, let's give her some little feet. So I extruded it in the Y direction this time. So these are the feet. So let's name some bones. So this is, in the bone tab, body. This is head. This is arm dot L for left. It's your left arm. Arm dot R, right arm. Let's call this thigh dot L. Shin dot L. Foot.L. Sorry, just making sure that I'm actually recording so we don't have to do this twice. It's happened to me before and it's never fun. Shin.R and foot.R. Did I name the head? Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. So that. Nice. Okay, so now we have all of our little bones and they're very happy. Let's save up and save a couple more times because I don't want to deal with that again. And let's head back to object mode and we can go back into solid. Okay, so first thing you do to marry these together is you grab the object, you select it. The object is selected. Step 2, Shift, select the bones. So now the object is orange and the bones are yellow. This is important. That is this order. Now you press Control P, set parent to, and you want to do it with empty groups. This button right here with empty groups. Click. Okay, so now you will note that it is actually the body base is inside of the armature, so it is parented to this. But as of right now, it doesn't know what is supposed to go where. You could do it, you could kind of like use different methods like envelope. What the? Oh, you know what that is? It's because I did this already and it already has the information. Okay, let's try that again. That's funny. It did it twice. Ha, okay. Starting again. Clear parent. And now, see, it's back out there. Let's try that again. Control P with empty groups. And now in the vertex information, this little tab here, it only has one skeleton. So now this should actually not do anything. There we go. Yeah, that's what's supposed to be happening here. Okay, so now we're going to tell it what is what. So let's start with the easy stuff. Go into edit mode, grab yourself with L, the body, go to body, press assign, nice. Grab yourself the arm, go to arm, L, assign, nice. And then just repeat that for all of these pieces. So what you can do for the head, because there's a lot of pieces going on here, you can go into wireframe mode. Make sure it's wireframe mode because then you get the back faces as well. If you're not, this is what happens. So you can go like this and you miss the back. So if you're ever using box selector, make sure you're in wireframe mode and make sure you grab that stuff. So now everything is selected, which is key. And you can do stuff, so then you can be like, oh, but I don't want the body or the arms. So you take the body and then deselect. So you can actually select and deselect by the vertex groups. So we're going to deselect that, deselect the arm, and deselect the other arm. And now it's only the pieces that we want that are head, and then go to head and assign. And so now you can see it knows what the head is. And so now this gets a little interesting. So now we have our little feet, leg, shin situation. So let's grab the left leg, okay? And we're gonna go into a mode called weight paint. So weight paint is like this, where you see you have the red means it's completely like one out of one completely tied to that bone. So the head, it is completely tied to that. The arm is that one, body, and it shows you, but it's good. There's nothing tied to these yet. And so what I've done, let's see, how did I do that the first time? Dun, dun, dun. Wait, oh, it was this. Okay, so originally this was off, this little button here. So what this is, so in edit mode, I have the leg selected. And what this is a mask by face selection. So now you can see only this is showing. So let's go into side view with 3 on the number pad. And what we can do is we can select gradient. I prefer gradient over draw for like the broad strokes. And you can actually, so it's got strength 1, and I believe you can set it to, interesting, how do you set it to negative? Interesting. That'll be a good question for later. Okay, so let's say you have gradient on and you're gonna pull it down just like that. So now you can see it's got like a nice little rainbow effect. So everything that's red is tied to this bone. Oh, I actually want thigh.L, not foot. There we go. So we drag this down. Nice. And shin is the opposite. You drag it up. And you notice that the foot has been included. We'll get to that later. And the foot, there we go. We don't want to get much of the leg at all. There we go, just the foot. Perfect, a little sock, I love it. So now what we want is to exclude this foot area from, whatchamacallit, doodle-doo, this. So we want a negative number. So let's figure out how we do that. All right, apparently the problem was that I could only do it from, whatchamacallit, draw mode, which is actually super annoying. Very, very annoying. Mix. There we go. I want mix subtract. I wonder if this will work if I bring it back this way. Okay, it does. Awesome. Okay, that works. All right. So you can subtract like that. It's just, you have to go apparently into paint mode to get to it, which is in brush settings, which is kind of annoying. Okay. So that's that. Now let's go into edit mode. Deselect with Alt A, select with L, and 1, 2 go to the front, and then you can press 4 on the number pad a couple times, and 5 to get it into orthographic mode. So that'll snap you to the other side. So 6 and 4 let you kind of move side to side, and 8 and 2 let you move up. So this is what that looks like: 8, 2, 4, 6. So you go to 1, and then 2, and then 5 to get to orthographic mode. Perfect. And that just lines everything up nicely. Let's head back into weight paint, and let's go to thigh.l. And we want mix again, and we want to go to gradient, and let's make a nice gradient, and same thing this way. There we go. And same thing this way. Perfect. And then put it in subtract mode. Why am I not seeing it? Why am I blind all of a sudden? There you are. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I just did this. How is it gone? Where did it go? New Blender, why do you treat me so? Okay, so that is what that looks like. So that is how you do kind of drawn on weight painting. So let's go back to object mode. Let's save up. Grab the skeleton, go to pose mode. And so now with the same kind of way that you can move the model. So like, for example, G moves it, S scales it, R rotates it. And so I could be like, I could be like, yeah, let's get the arm back there, and this arm's forward. She's happy to see you. For the legs, let's do something fun. Let us go to bones, bone constraints, and create inverse kinematics in the foot. And so you can set the chain length to be something like 3. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually move these knees forward so it knows which way to bend them. There we go. So back in pose mode. You can only do these things from pose mode, so that's what's up. And now, oh, that's interesting. What if I do this? Yeah, it kind of works. It's not the world's greatest rig, but it'll do. There we go. There we go. So now you can kind of like move the foot as like one big thing. This is not the world's greatest rig, yeah, but it's something. So you can be like, yeah. Same thing other side. Add bone constraint, inverse kinematics. That's from this little tab down here. 1, 2, 3 is the chain length. So it's 1 is this, 2, 3, and it gives you all the way up to that. Sometimes you just have to like do it manually like that. Ta-da. So now we kind of see that there's an interesting error with our, and by the way, I'm doing this rotation with double tapping R. So double tap R, it does that. Otherwise, it just does it in the plane of the thingy. So you will note that the dress does not match the legs. And that's because the dress is not in any way shaped to the legs. It doesn't listen to them at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into edit mode. Alt A to deselect, L to select just the dress. And let's go back into weight paint. And now into our data tab here, let's go to thigh.l. So we can see that that is where that's getting its stuff from. Now we have this masked because it's dark blue, everything else is kind of faded out. And what we can do is we can actually create a gradient, if this will work. We need to be in mix mode. A gradient from the side like that. So now it'll do that. And on this side, we want a gradient like that. See, look at that. So now the dress will actually form, it'll be moved by this bone here. So if we want to see what that looks like in, let's save again, go to pose mode, grab the foot. So now, and obviously it does break after a certain point, so we'd have to like fix it a bit, but it's a little bit more, a bit nicer than it was before. So there we go. So look at that, now she is rigged. Da-da-da. And if you want to see what it looks like without the bones, you can just press this little eye over here on the armature. Da-da-da. Okay, so that is pretty much it for rigging. It's a pretty simple discipline on the surface, but like the rest of it, it can get a lot more complicated. But this is all we need to learn for today. So, see you guys later.